Sure, everybody should be on their best behaviour and eating healthy, but not us. Hey everyone, it's James at Amused Bouche. Today we are making a cake. Making a cake, why not? We're making, is a very American thing, is a Streusel cake. So basically it's like a crunchy sort of crumb, I suppose, that runs through the centre and also is on the top. It's like a crumble, almost. The reason we're doing it is my mother has basically given me, ow. I don't know, right, you tell me. Here.
Yeah, go down.
Yeah. Gingerbread men. Going well, isn't it? Haven't even got the ingredients to hand. My mum and my sister run a little deli in Budbrook, the pantry door, a little shout out to them. She had a load of these gingerbread men and a fair few of them didn't sell. Yeah. So she said to me basically, I use these gingerbread men. What can you make with the gingerbread men? We're going to use these, we're going to blitz them up, add some sugar, some butter, and we're going to use that as our like crumb to run through the centre of a cake. Hopefully it should be quite nice, and it's a little nice thing for you to try at the weekend, during lockdown, cup of tea or a coffee with it, beautiful. Streusel cake, let's get to it. So let's get things started by making the streusel, and sadly it's going to mean a timely end for these brave little soldiers. They thought they'd got through Christmas without having to meet their maker, but it's time to meet the food processor. Help! We're going to blitz them up until they're a fine crumb and add 100 grams of dark brown sugar and 200 grams of melted butter. It's basically like a rich biscuit base, but with that much butter in it, it should hold together when pressed, like this. Pop that to one side and let's move on to the cake batter. Into a large bowl goes 240 grams of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder and half a teaspoon of baking soda, and also 1 teaspoon of salt, just to give it that little bit of flavour. Give them a whisk together until they're all combined, and then we'll move on to the wet stuff. Into a stand mixer goes 250 grams of butter and 170 grams of caster sugar. With the mixing paddle on, cream them together until they become light and fluffy. Bring it down from the sides with a spatula and then add 3 eggs, one at a time. Really give it a good mix when you've added each egg. It gives the eggs time to fully incorporate into the butter and sugar. Then, to make sure that the sponge stays nice and soft, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sour cream to the batter. Now, mine ended up looking like it had split slightly, and you can rectify this by just adding a couple tablespoons of the flour and it will bring everything back together. Add the rest of the dry ingredients and then continue to mix until everything comes together. It should be a light, fluffy batter. We're going to use a loaf tin for this cake. Make sure that you've greased it up by rubbing some butter on the sides and then lay a strip of baking paper along the bottom and up each end, almost so that you've got like little tabs so that you can lift the cake out when it's done. Put half of the batter into the loaf tin and spread it out with an offset spatula until it's smooth and level across the bottom. Then we're going to add our first layer of streusel. You'll see what I'm doing here is trying to almost make a border of cake around it, flicking sort of bits of the streusel that have hit the edge into the middle. The reason that we're doing this is we want the batter that goes on top to meet the batter that goes underneath, and it'll almost make a seal around the streusel. Pour the rest of your batter on top of the streusel and then level it off with an offset spatula. Basically, the last thing we're going to do before we put it in the oven is give it another sprinkle, a good hearty sprinkle, of some more streusel and just push it down slightly so that it grips into the batter. Get this into the oven for an hour at 200 degrees Celsius. It's a long time, but it's a loaf cake and it's going to need a long time to cook. About halfway through, I'd suggest covering the top with a piece of tin foil just to stop all that streusel burning. To ensure the cake is cooked all the way through, push a skewer into the middle of the cake and it should come out with just a few crumbs left on the end. The skewer should not be wet with batter. Once it's baked, get it out onto a cooling rack and let it cool for a couple of hours to make sure that it all stays together when you're going to cut it. It's going to take a bit of patience, but good things come to those who wait. Finish it off with a sprinkling of icing sugar, and there you go. A streusel cake which will impress your friends the next time you have them over for coffee. Oh yeah, I forgot. We're not allowed to see other human beings anymore. So there we have it, a happy looking little cake. It's got a little smiley face on it there. It's happy, it's a happy cake, but it also does mean that the streusel in the middle has sunk. However, it does taste great. It's very moist from sour cream that we put into the mix. The streusel on the top has gone really nice and crunchy, and it's a really nice sort of deep caramelly taste as well. Give it a little try. I mean, it's a very straightforward little piece of cake. It's vanilla sponge, but you can taste the gingeriness from the gingerbread men. And obviously, if you haven't got gingerbread men, you could use like little ginger biscuits and just blend them up. They'd work just as well. The middle piece, the sort of streusel has gone almost a little bit fudgy through the middle, but that's quite nice. It's a nice little cake, and it's a good little one to have about for just when you're having a cup of tea or a coffee in the morning. I'm happy bunny. Make sure you give the video a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we shall see you next time. Who knows what kitchen we'll be in? Could be in any kitchen. But we'll find one and we'll do some more cooking.